to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 17th day of May. Another beautiful day here in the Nashville, Tennessee area. A lot of great weather, great basketball out there. I love this time of year. I've said it over and over again. Sometimes I get allergies and stuff, but other than that, it's a good time. Like the Drake song says, what a time to be alive. Got a great show on tonight. Now, Keith Engel's not going to be able to make it. He's late from a business trip, I want to say. He will be here tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern, or 30 minutes into the program. Keith Engel will be in. I was going to ask him a few things, get his takes on a few things. Freddie the Pizza Man out of Detroit. His mother, I was going to try to get him on for Thursday as well. His mom is sick. He canceled his golf tournament. And, I thought maybe I could squeeze him in for a few minutes. But he's got a lot going on. So thoughts and prayers with Freddie the Pizza Man, who's been on the program before. He's not going to be able to make it either. But I've got a great show tonight, folks. Going to talk about this Denver Laker game here. A little bit of I Told You So. Plus, I'm going to talk about Victor Wembanyama, the Spurs end up winning that lottery. Pat McAfee, he's going to ESPN. A lot of warning signs there from others who have been to ESPN and left ESPN for Pat. I'll give you my take on that as well. Joe Burrow extension, I meant to get to that yesterday. We'll talk about the talks have continued. He wants to keep his team together. I've got a take on that as well. So it's a jam-packed program. We'll go ahead and get our break out of the way early here, Corey, and I'll be back here in 49 seconds here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. Then I'm back here live. All right, Corey. All right, everybody. LA Denver. I'll say this, after really getting a long look, I stayed up late last night, Corey. I don't normally do this. I have to get up early, work the day job, but the game was so good. I saw Denver. They had the 21-point lead. That was the tops. Hung around 18. Hung around 18 for a little while, back and forth. And, I had a few bucks on it. Had the -5.5 for Denver, but I was seeing the Lakers. They made an adjustment here and started to really shave that thing off a little bit. I'll say this. The Joker, I was just watching a thing with Shaquille O'Neal before I came on the program. He's reminiscing about his career and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's called Tough Love on TNT. Very good. They'll re-air it tonight after the game if you've got TNT. The sit down. It's like a 30-minute interview documentary with Shaquille O'Neal and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Very good stuff. And I made a note of that. I made a note of that, Pickles. And Shaq, what Joker did last night was very Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal from 2000, hey, Carlos, from 2000 to about 2004, I give or take a year, Shaquille O'Neal could get 40 points and 20 rebounds anytime he wanted it. And from watching the Joker last night with his stat line, very close to that, except, this guy's got 10. What did he have? Let's see. I'll make sure I got everything right here. He has 14 assists, 21 rebounds, 34 points. Could have got 40 easier. Could have got 40, Corey, easy, but he was being unselfish. He was getting his teammates involved. He's stolen the ball across court. Anthony Davis. Now Davis with 40 points, 10 rebounds. Davis did get a good block on him, and I thought, that is impressive. I don't want to take anything from Anthony Davis, but the very next possession, Corey, he spins and he acts like he's going to go to the inside around to the perimeter. He spins and goes all the way to his right and slams it. That was very 1992 Michael Jordan dunking. It didn't look as good. Michael Jordan dunking on Pat Ewing. That dunk where Jordan acts like he's going to go one way. He kind of pulls Patrick Ewing out of position. Then he goes up and does a sky dunk. Very quick twitch move. That scene, that play that Jordan did on the Ewing, that was showed in the movie Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. Yeah, they were watching it. That really it was unbelievable. I mean, this guy's he's playing at an unbelievable level. And Jim Jeffcoat, I want to credit former Dallas Cowboy. When we were talking about this on Sunday, I said I thought this Denver team would beat that Laker team because of fatigue. No 7 seed has ever been to the finals. No 7. This will be a first. MGM Bet reported that stat yesterday. And now an 8 seed had been in a half season. That was with the New York Knicks. We talked about that in 1999. I talked about the struggle that the Lakers had to go to just to get there, and they still impressed me the way they finished the game. That being said, that was my reasoning for picking Denver to win this in 6. I also picked Denver to win this game last night. All right. But, every time they got close, Denver would shut them out. And, I thought, the Lakers own the paint. So let me go back and make sure that the Lakers, now going back to what Jim said. So Jim Jeffcoat said, this team is long. Okay. He said, this team is a lot longer. Talk about this Denver Nugget team than people were giving them credit for. They started 3 guards. The Lakers did, by the way. And you're looking at a guy like Austin Reeves. Michael Porter, 6'10", guys. I didn't realize. I thought he was 6'7". Michael Porter is listed as 6'10". 6'11", Joker. 6'8", Aaron Gordon. That's a very tall front 3 there. Playing against guys, for whatever reason, Michael Porter, Austin Reeves was guarding Michael Porter. I mean, he just shoot over him. It's very much like a Rasheed Wallace shooting over a point guard, So, I mean, they and then I looked at the rebound difference. I mean, 47-30 in favor of Denver. Okay. Then you go points in the paint, that is what points in the paint. They actually beat them by 2 points. I thought that's where, the Lakers would totally really make a difference there. Denver actually had 2 more points in the paint there. 7 blocks to 4. 11 points off turnovers. Edge of Denver, 11-7. Fast break, 19-13. I thought the Lakers would get them in that because I was seeing some fast break points by the Lakers. Free throws. The Lakers did shoot more free throws, 26-22, and I thought the Lakers had a 30-17. It was nothing like that. So when you watch the game, you got to make sure, like me as an analyst, I want to make sure what I'm watching is coming up in the box score, and it wasn't. when I watched this game down the stretch, I thought, well, man, maybe the Lakers have an edge in the paint. They've got to have an edge on the boards down the stretch. And that wasn't the case. Now, a bright spot for LA, yes. Hooch Amirora. Raul, the black guy with the Japanese name, you all know who I'm talking about. He did guard the Joker pretty well. He actually did that, and there was a stat here on him, and I want to make sure and get this because somebody put this out. ESPN, Raul Hachimura is a mouthful. It might as well be Ichiro Suzuki. Great pickup, man. Kudos for the Lakers. But when he was guarding the Joker only had, I want to say, 6 plays, 0 for 2, and 2 turnovers. 0 for 2 from field goal. When Anthony Davis was guarding the Joker, he had 10 for 13. Now, obviously, there's going to be a coaching adjustment there. Raul, that's what I'll call him, because I'll jack that last name up, who played for the, that's him, Pickles. That's him. And so that is the big bright spot for the Lakers. Everything else is I told you so. Everything else is, I said, the Lakers will make a run. They'll make a run, but they'll wear down. And they did. This is what everybody else is going to say the opposite. Game 2 tomorrow, could be wrong. I've been wrong before. And the guys, I'll say when I've made a mistake. Good scope, bad scope. I'll admit when I made a mistake. But tomorrow, I think that was the Lakers' best effort. Even though they come in a little lagged early. I think the Lakers had the extra rest. I think Denver was just hot early. But the Lakers, they made a big 42 minutes for AD, 40 minutes for LeBron. Now, 2 days later, in that rarefied air, do you expect – here's my prediction for the next game. The next game, the Lakers will look good early. They'll look good early in game 2. And I think Denver will blow them out towards the end of the game. I think Denver will blow them out towards the end of the game. Now, that being said, the role players, Raul, Austin Reeves, Lonnie the Fourth, maybe even a D'Angelo Russell, Schroeder, those guys could get hot at home. I do expect the Lakers to play well in game 3. The Lakers will probably blow these guys out in game 3. I expect it. They're playing well. Darvin Ham has gotten these guys to buy in to play defense. They've gotten these guys to play. So I do expect them to play well home. I said this will probably go Denver in 6. I could see the Lakers winning a dogging out another one and winning game 4 and then go back up, beating game 5. And then I think the Lakers in game 6, it's going to be like that lawnmower, it's going to be like that lawnmower. I mean, the pushing lawnmower, you got gas, you're pressing the primer, you're pulling back, and it's going to go. And most of the times when you press that primer button, folks, the lawnmower comes on. Most of the time when you press that primer button, it comes on. But in game 6, my prediction is that primer button's you're going to be pressed, and that it's not going to come on for LeBron. It's not going to come on for Anthony Davis. Just like LeBron, when he missed that 3, they didn't even try. They didn't even try to go out and do anything. They just walked it off. The lawnmower's not going to start, and that's going to be the end of the Lakers. A 7 seed that kudos to them for the turnaround they did. But that problem, the reason why they were in that hole was because of LeBron, the general manager, taking in Westbrook, getting rid of all the role players, and then, of course, correcting that problem around the trade deadline. And they did have the best record in the league. Okay, so listen to, let me make sure I got this cat's name right. And they did get it to 3. Okay. and they did get it to 3. But listen to Chris Broussard. Now, Chris Broussard, Fox Sports guy, he was on Colin Cowherd's show yesterday talking about predicting this series. And, my dad said, if you don't toot your own horn, nobody will. Now, mind you, Chris Broussard, a lot of these guys from Fox and ESPN, they have sources in management. They have player sources. They've got former player sources. They should be smoking Joe Average me as far as picks like a cigar. Because they got so much inside information, they should be smoking, 85, 95%. But listen to Chris Broussard talk about his previous picks in these series on the Colin Cowherd show. This is with me working a 40-hour week. I used to have 2 hands tied behind my back when I worked 65 hours a week, did the show 1 time a week. Totally burned out. But now I've got 1 hand tied behind my back because I've lowered my day job to 40 hours, okay? I lowered my day job to 40 hours, so I've got a little bit more of a somewhat of an even shot to study and get this stuff down. I make mistakes all the time, but listen to Chris Broussard talk about his picks with the Lakers and what he thinks is going to happen.
I picked Memphis to beat the Lakers. I picked Golden State to beat the Lakers. But I've learned my lesson. I'm picking the Lakers in this series. I think there are a lot of reasons to like Denver. But
there's Chris Broussard, folks. And that's why I said this is the most influential sports talk show in the country. Smoking him, I smoked that host, Colin Cowherd. I beat his co-host, and the guy's pretty good, actually. He's a lot better than that chick he had. And then the other chick, we're both pretty much eye candy. Oh, God. Good guys. Good guys. But he already picked the Lakers to win it, and they're already down 1-0. Now, if you're at home and you win game 1, you've got like an 80% chance of winning this thing. Okay? No 7th seed has got to the finals, especially a 7th seed led by an often injured big man and a 38-year-old player playing on the road. So, it is what it is. So ESPN, I'm smoking them, man. I'm smoking these guys. Now, that being said, I've dropped the ball sometimes in NFL. Not only the other day that I said the Lakers would beat Golden State 6. I said that last game, game 4, not the closeout game, the game 4 where they went up 3. I said the Lakers will win this, but it'll be within 5. It was within 3. Those clowns said Golden State. Hey, self-made, baby. I get up early, I work harder. It is what it is, all right? Not to sound cocky, but man, what Jay-Z say, I don't mean to boast, but damn if I don't brag. Woo! All right, so anyways, tonight, I like Boston to win tonight, obviously. 8-point favorites. Now, here's the thing about Miami. This is 2 things I'm thinking about with Miami. Now, Boston's coach, I don't care for. Miami could go up there and beat them. That could happen. But Miami has lost their last 2 road games against the Knicks, and they barely a Knicks team that can't score at all. They barely squeaked a 4-point win over the Knicks. Okay? This high pick and roll, this Robert Williams, this Robert Williams and Al Horford deal there, I think it's really going to give Miami a lot of problems. I could see, I think Boston will probably win this game, and it'll probably be within that 8 points. It's a point spread. I think they'll probably win this series in 6. So, Pickle says Denver's got a 19-22 record on the road. So that's why I think that they'll probably They'll probably lose the next 2 games in LA. LA does get to the free throw line a lot, and I think Hillbilly Kobe will shoot the ball well, along with Raul. And, of course, Lonnie Walker and maybe Schroeder could get something. So it's going to be a great series. That's going to be a great series with the coach of Denver or Boston. Anything can happen, but I think Boston will beat this Miami team. I think eventually it's going to catch up with Miami. That they're an 8 seed as well. Boston's got 57 wins. So, they got to live up to their billing, if you ask me. Okay. Staying in the NBA, staying in the round ball. Last night during the program, Pickles, I want to thank you breaking that news story. The Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama, he's going to go to San Antonio. I mean, he's odds on a gazillion to 1, pay a gazillion dollars to win $1. He's going to be the number 1 pick going to the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs won the lottery last night. So you got to ask yourself, what does this do for a cranky 74-year-old Greg Popovich, a coach that hasn't won practically anything since Tim Duncan retired, said he definitely will coach again, and now you got Victor Wembanyama? I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed another 3 or 4 years. Talent like that makes me think about adding life to a guy, like a Gus D'Amato. Listen to what Gus D'Amato, the trainer for Mike Tyson, said when he found a young buxom prospect, a talent like Mike Tyson, in him much later, and he said, man, this guy, he's going to be the next great one. Listen up. I found this here. Gets an emotional talking about Mike. Now, this one's off YouTube. Just kind of bear with me.
I often say to him, I owe you a lot. He doesn't know what I mean. I'm going to tell him now what I mean. If he weren't here, I probably wouldn't be alive today. The fact that he is here and doing what he's doing and doing as well as he's doing and improving as he has gives me the motivation and interest to stay alive. Because I believe that a person dies when they no longer wants to live. But I have a reason with Mike here. And he gives me the motivation. I will stay alive and I will watch him become a success. Because I will not leave until that happens.
I don't know if it'll be that inspiring, but that was Gus D'Amato talking about Mike Tyson. Now, I could be happier for Wembanyama. I saw some of his reactions when the Rockets didn't get him. Now, Ime was an assistant there with San Antonio. I don't care. I mean, he even though their politics are different, in air quotes, I think Greg Popovich is playing up to the camera sometime, but he's kind of like a Bob Knight, He's a great coach, kind of a jerk of a person, but I'm fair on this program, and I'm all about winning. And I do think that he's going to get that, whether he stays 3 or 4 more years, rather than retire after 1. But I do think a guy like this will add on time to his coaching career. And I hope it does, because he'll get a chance. Maybe Tim Duncan will get the chance to work with Victor Wembanyama and get this guy the kind of polish that he needs. I just didn't want, I was going to tell this to Freddie, I just didn't want him to go to a Detroit. A bad Orlando or Washington. And no offense to Jordan, but I didn't want to see him go to Charlotte. So I think it makes me think about Gus D'Amato. And finding that glory again. I think that by the time this guy's 24, 25, Greg will be close to 80 years old. But hey, Bobby Bowden was coaching at 80, and they were playing really well. Florida State, they were playing pretty close to championship level. I would not be surprised one bit at that. Listen, it makes me think about a guy like Andy Reid, for example. Okay. Andy Reid was a coach that was fired from the Philadelphia Eagles, folks. Remember, he was fired from the Philadelphia Eagles. Bad time management, never quite got over the hump. He could never win the big one in big games. He had time management issues, particularly in that Super Bowl with Terrell Owens and Donovan McNabb and everything. And you look, he goes to Kansas City with the mediocre Alex Smith. And think about the guy's personal life. You know, this is widely reported. I'm not talking out of school here. One of his sons died of a drug overdose, okay, when he was in Philadelphia, Andy Reid. And then he had another son a few years ago. His other son got a DUI, but he had an accident where a child got hurt really bad, severely hurt, permanently injured. Now he's in jail right now. So if you look at that and you think about all this stuff, if he never gets Patrick Mahomes, what do we think of Andy Reid now? You know, I think Andy Reid probably retires. You know, it's too much stress on the guy. I like the guy. I really like Andy Reid. I think he's a good guy. And I like the fact that you could tell because some of his assistants play well. But you know, you could tell Mahomes adds so much happiness to this guy's life. I mean, he's looked at now as one of the legendary coaches of the league, as the quarterback whisperer of the league. That doesn't have that shine on it Pickles, if Patrick Mahomes doesn't come, you know. So I'm actually happy. As much as I don't like Greg Popovich, I'm kind of happy. I'm pretty happy for the Spurs. That's good for the league. And I'm really happy for a Kansas City team that got a guy like Andy Reid got a chance to coach and mold a talent like a Patrick Mahomes now. I mean, they've won 2 Super Bowls. They very well can win 2 more. Now we're starting to talk about Andy Reid, you know, maybe in that Bill Belichick arena, you know, maybe in the, Joe Gibbs, you know, the former 4-time Super Bowl winning coach with the Steelers. I can't remember his name. Pickles, you probably know what I'm talking about. But you could put the Bill Walsh, all those great coaches of 49ers, the West Coast offense. So, you know, Andy Reid, he would have retired it, but this guy's punched a lot of life in him, you know. And that's it. Yeah. The Kawhi Leonard, it left the void. Kawhi Leonard could not get it. And now this could blow up in Popovich's face. And this guy may be demanding a trade. I don't think it'll happen that way. But it's going to be an interesting story to follow over the next few years. Plus, they've got a lot of draft picks. You know, they've got, let me see they got a bunch of draft picks to build around. A lot of guys I've never heard of, folks, on this particular team. But Wembanyama, yeah. Okay, the Spurs have Victor Wembanyama and 12 first-round picks from 24 to 28. They're in better shape than the Knicks. They've got 12 first-round picks in the next 4 years. So it's going to be interesting for the league. I'm kind of happy. I'm happy for everybody in this situation. Only thing better if a Sam Presti would have got this guy and went to Oklahoma City and have him play with SGA, their up and coming star there over there with the Oklahoma City Thunder. But that didn't happen. Very interesting story, folks, to follow. I've got a media story here that's pretty juicy, but I'm going to put that off for a second. Switching gears to the pigskin, I will come back to the Pat McAfee story here in just a minute, folks. All right, now, Okay. Yesterday, it was reported that Cincinnati, the Bengals folks, are in discussions with Joe Burrow about a contract extension. Now, Joe Burrow, again, this is me going off the cusp here. This Cincinnati team, you're talking about a guy who brought this team back to the Super Bowl. He's the most winningest quarterback in the history of the franchise and playoff and games and everything. He's been in this organization for 3 years. You kidding me? You're not kidding me, like Tony Montana said. 3 years. They're building a indoor facility because of him. It's making a guy like Mike Brown, who's notoriously cheap, re-signed Joe Mixon when I thought they could have moved on for him. Drafted another wide receiver when they already had a T. Higgins on their team. He's a guy that could really command $60 million, $60 million a year. Already being compared to, I think his ceiling is Montana Brady-like. Unbelievable. But you know what he said? He says, I understand this. He says, I want to keep my teammates here. You know, he wants to keep T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Now, Chase is not eligible for an extension for another year. Thank God for Cincinnati, right? But he wants to keep those. He's willing to structure his contract to keep them both. And, hey, listen. This roster, when you're that down and you get one player to bring you up that much, it's hard really to believe that, And I've got some notes here on it, but I just got to be able to find it. Okay, this is from ESPN. The Bengals have had a lot of winning since they drafted Burrow with the first pick overall in 2020 after a knee. Check this out. After a knee injury ended his rookie season, Burrow was named the league's comeback player of the year. Won the first playoff game since January of 1991. That was that Raider game. And then since reached the Super Bowl for the first time in 33 years. I didn't know it was 33 years. The last one was Boomer Esiason in 89 against 49ers, folks. Lost to Kansas City in the AFC Championship, kept Cincinnati from making a repeat trip. 23-20 loss there. Super Bowl, Higgins and Chase accounted for 14 of Burrow's 26 completions. And Burrow says, when asked if he, you've got to keep good players. So here's my thing. If you want to keep this guy, there's a way to do it. Now, I've talked about this before. All right. By the way, there's a way to do it. Keep your, they remember they paid Orlando Brown. They traded and got that big time left tackle there. Really good move. Not so good for Kansas City. Kansas City thought they would get somebody else. Very good move for Cincinnati. Okay. That's fine. They've got him locked up for 4 years. If you want him to keep those two receivers, here's a way to go about it. All right. You pay that left tackle. You try to find as many free agents as you can put in around him, offensive line, which they brought in Ted Karras and Alex Kapka from free agency last year. Take care of the offensive line and pay these two guys, all right? And Burrow, realizing, like a Patrick Mahomes, he wants to keep his guys. Mahomes kept Kels, okay? And what you could do is, like they did this past year, you can draft most of your defense. You can have most of your defense on a rookie contract. They let Jesse Bates, the safety, walk. Good move. They let him walk. Remember, he went to Atlanta. Keep your edge rushers. Your Trey Hendersons of the world. And whoever you got over the middle, DJ Reader, Sam Hubbard. You keep those 3 players. If worst case, you pay one, the one that's best over the ball. I don't know if that's Hubbard or Henderson. You'll be able to find that out from talking to Lou Arenado, who is a great defensive coordinator. You keep that, you can draft everything else around it. Last 2 Super Bowl winners, safeties wasn't that good, linebackers wasn't that good. Those guys can be on draft. You can even draft. Kansas City had a rookie cornerback this past year. If you can go as far with the good scheme as drafting a rookie corner there. All right. Are you going to be shaky in defense at times? Yes, that is true. But you want pressure over the ball, an edge rusher, maybe one decent corner, everything else. But that's if you wanted to keep. Now, I was saying before, they could probably let Higgins walk and keep Chase, keep it that way. But if you wanted to keep them both to keep people to keep Burrow happy and for Burrow to take a massive pay cut, you could do that as well. I think they probably get to the Super Bowl this year and win it. But I do not think that this team will have a I do not think they'll get the number 1 seed as of right now. A lot depends on the health of this team, and I'm trying to see if I can figure out. Here we go. For example, this is what they did this past year in the draft. First round pick, they took Myles Murphy, edge rusher, Clemson, rookie contract. They took cornerback DJ Turner from Michigan in the second round, defensive player. They took Jordan Battle. This is a very good pick, by the way. Safety out of Alabama. Rookie. They took 3 defensive guys, the first 3 picks in the NFL draft. And then, of course, they went offense the rest of the way, and they took a punter there in the 6th round. So that potentially, when you've got a very good quarterback like that, you can put a lot of your stock in the defense. Now, it's just going the opposite. Like, for instance, like if you're paying the quarterback, you have to go rookie contract everywhere else. If you have the quarterback on the rookie contract, you can go overload your team everywhere. You can stack your team like a Philadelphia, for example, with Jalen Hurts. And then you could go about that way. So they're doing it the opposite way there. And also, if you can't trade a player, this is a new way of doing this thing because of these exploding quarterback contracts. All right. You let a player walk, and this is what the Rams have gotten away with. Now, mind you, folks, the Rams were garbage last year, but they have been to 2 Super Bowls the past 5 years before that, and multiple playoff, playoff appearances, 2 Super Bowls. They've won 1. So they were doing something right. Okay. When they were letting players walk, they were getting compensatory picks for this. That's kind of the cheat code. Like some of those compensatory picks were like 3rd round, they were getting those compensatory picks. So they went out and traded. They got a very good corner there in Jalen Ramsey. And then, of course, they extended Aaron Donald. That was pretty much it. They made a mistake when they took Bobby Wagner. Then they took Allen Robertson. Okay? Those are players that you didn't bring in. Bobby Wagner's a linebacker. What I just say about linebackers, top linebackers been on teams that have, they've had lower end linebackers the last few years. You can get a linebacker in the 1st round. A linebacker and a running back statistically are the least bust rate, especially a linebacker, in the NFL for 1st round picks. But you don't want to extend one, okay? Ideally, not unless he is a Ray Lewis caliber of guy. Or if your model is a Baltimore Ravens where you're going heavy defense and you're going light everywhere else. So that's a model there. Burrow's going to take that hometown discount. I don't blame him. The more this guy wins, it's not because that he's not getting endorsements. He's probably turning them down right now. I see a guy like this winning the Super Bowl this year or next, And then he'll probably, once he starts, getting in that class of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, I would imagine you'll start seeing him getting more endorsements in my case. And Pickle says that's a combination. Yeah, that could be Montana to Rice of this century, Pickles, perhaps. That very well could be. Is Burrow getting a stench? Bengals will fall apart from the inside out. He needs to just play out this contract. If not, they'll be like the NSNYC, the New York Stock Exchange. I guess I don't know what that means. Carlos, he's from Ohio. He grew up in Ohio. I think he was born in Iowa. And Joe Burrow's from that area. I do not think now. Ideally, he would be the biggest free agent of all time. When he first got drafted there, that's what I was saying. Don't sign any extension. Get out. Stay healthy. Pull a Carson Wentz. Go to a winning organization. But they have made the right moves, and they stumbled on a really good defensive coordinator, and the offensive guy and the head coach is not completely incompetent, although he wouldn't have a job if not for Joe Burrow. They've played in multiple AFC championship games back-to-back. I think they're going to be okay. I think Cincinnati's going to be okay. Pickle says they're not going anywhere, and I don't think he is. I think that if push come to shove, he's the kind of guy I would push to pay $60 million because of how good he is. He does more with less than anybody. Yeah, okay. Carlos says, okay, he's making an NSYNC. I forgot that's your favorite band. Okay, so it's an interesting story. I got a friend of mine, this guy Justin from church. I'm trying to get him to come on. He's from Cincinnati, huge Bengals fan. At some point when I get a chance to talk to him again, I will get him on the program, folks. By the way, if you didn't get a chance to watch yesterday's program, Jeffrey Deskovic, great conversation with him about the playoffs and future references to the NBA. Go back and watch that program. Very good stuff there here on SportsScope. Okay, Pat McAfee. Interesting take here. Interesting news here. Pat McAfee. So he leaves FanDuel in the middle of a 4-year, $120 million deal to join ESPN. Okay. And I guess ESPN bought this contract out. McAfee says he's had 4 other offers. Okay. Now, I'll say this. Let me play what he said about this. This is about a 1:29 soundbite, and I've got some other opinions here, various opinions on, I got my opinion why he done it for strategic purposes, and I can give you some of the cons of going to a place like an ESPN when you're already pretty much on top as an independent guy. But let me get to this story. It's taking a minute to load up here, but I will get it here. It will get it. It says from a YouTube. This is McAfee talking about this on his program. And I'll make sure and get it here in just a second. I thought I had it here, folks. Let's see, they may have took it off, but I got a soundbite on it. And he's basically saying that, all right, here we go.
Ladies and
this is McAfee making the announcement on his show here. If I can get it going here, and it looks like I will be able to. But it's just taking a second to get going here. And I have something to say about it, too, here in just a second.
A few years back, none of these networks would even give me a meeting. Now, we're the tip of the spear of what sports media needs to be in its next chapter. I'm honored that what the boys our fans and I have created has been studied, accepted, and ultimately seemingly appreciated by these multi-billion-dollar networks with hundreds, if not thousands, of employees. It only happens because all you motherfuckers that watch and follow along with that.
Sorry about the language
the
there.
rumors were accurate, but they didn't tell the entire tale. Beginning this fall, our show will be live on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and ESPN's YouTube all at the same damn time. It'll be Get Up, First Take, then our program on ESPN and ESPN Plus, and our show will be live on ESPN's YouTube as well.
Well, so you're getting the gist of it. Now, Dan Le Batard, former ESPN host, says, congratulations, but warning to Pat McAfee, you've done the hardest thing your way. You build a beast. Don't let anyone tame the beast. And listen, and this is what Jason Whitlock. So that was Dan Le Batard. Dan Le Batard is more of a left-leaning guy. This used to not be this way in sports, but now you could tell, even the sports people, that you could tell which way, because ESPN has vomited their social stances and political stances into the public, on the public, and make people take sides. That's what they've done. That's why that with the Walt Disney, the powers to be at Disney, that's part of why people are leaving. I know cord cutting's a big part, but that's part of why people are leaving, And so that's what Le Batard said. And then a guy on the other side, Jason Whitlock, because I got a great respect for, who the haters can say what they want to about Whitlock. I went to an event that he was hosting a few weeks back. It was packed. Whitlock has a lot of offers all the time. He stayed independent. He wrote a great article here, and I want to read this about what was said here, and then I'll give you my opinion after deciphering some of this stuff here. So he read, this is what Whitlock said. All right, this is a little bit of a mouthful, but he says basically ESPN and Disney are the enemy of masculinity, free speech, truth. ESPN is a worldwide leader promoting the matriarchy of LGBTQ agenda, racial idolatry. The network dropped the bag. It's supposedly a lot of money on McAfee for his bro show to serve as a beard for Disney's real agenda. He says McAfee's sellout move is being celebrated across the internet. He's being held as an amazing success story. He went from punter to broadcast superstar. Remember, McAfee says he begged these guys for a job years ago. Now he had to build his own. Now they're begging him. It's allegedly the American dream. Selling out is not the American dream. So is a brand of global corporation used for its reputation. He says ESPN doesn't talk about sports. ESPN is explicitly political. He said ESPN is explicitly racially divisive. I've read some of the stuff that they've done as of late. Disney and ESPN have chosen the side of transgender issue, which directly impacts how they talk about men who pretend to be women and participate in women's sports. That's been going on for 10 years. McAfee knows why ESPN dropped the bag. McAfee, as a white male-dominated show, is intended to be a dog whistle to white male traditional sports fans who have grown tired of Stephen A. Smith, Kendrick Perkins, he was just race baiting the other day, Ryan Clark, Mr. Cry on TV, Jalen Rose, another genius, everything is racist, Molly Corum, Ellen Duncan, Malika Andrews, constantly pushing for the white man is the devil. This is Jason Whitlock, black guy. Devil narrative. McAfee is too cowardly to get in the ring with the ESPN army of race baiters. Will Cain used to do it, but he left for Fox News. White former NBA guard J.J. Redick has occasionally sparred with Perkins and Smith on First Take. So, hey, ESPN doesn't host real fights, not on issues that matter. ESPN lines up tomato cans to fight its race baiters and pays white men such as Mike Greenberg to sign off on the racial division or ignore it. McAfee will be paid handsomely to ignore it. That's what sellouts do. I can hear my critics now, Whitlock says. They will claim I'm jealous of McAfee. I'm not jealous. I'm disappointed. He can't muster the courage to even pretend to be courageous. Dan Le Batard and Bill Simmons mustered the courage to pretend. Yes, they play woke to stay up on the good side of social media, but at least they chose the independent route. There's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot. My thing is, remember, Barstool Sports tried this for one day with ESPN, one day, and their show got canceled. They got Barstool. So what he does is very, it's very close to what Barstool. Pickles. He brings on guys like Aaron Rodgers. He's a former punter. He's only 36 years old, but when you got NFL so popular, you got a lot of the former NFL guys in there. That really helps his program. My guess is he really liked doing the college game day thing. That was a side gig with ESPN. And I think that FanDuel was probably pressuring him to push those parlays. And I don't think he felt like doing that. I don't think he really, because he was complaining about how he was getting destroyed on them. And I don't think he wanted to push that gambling stuff. And I think it's a lot easier if you have that umbrella to get people on your program, even though he did have a lot of connections, like these NFL connections, like an Aaron Rodgers, Travis Kelce, people like that. So he's used that and leveraged it. So my thing is he's using this. Yeah, the money's one thing, just to get a bigger audience. When you get on that platform, you get the bigger audience, and then you go back independent again, and then it'll be worth more money. That's my guess. He just had a kid. He's married. The wife probably pressured him to take the more money and do this. So, yeah, that's my guess. That's my guess on something like that. Now, he did mention in that video that there is some they don't have any he can't say the F-bomb and everything. But plus they don't have any editing power. He has final say on what he puts on his program, So that all sounds fine and dandy. I will say it'll last less than 5 years with ESPN. And I've talked about it with John from Spitball and Sports, John Bristano there, about ESPN and what they've become over the last few years. Everything Jason said was correct there. And then some. That's a thing there. And they refuse to fire those people who want to push those political policies, who want to race bait. People ask me, what a lady at work said, well, would you take an ESPN? I said, you know what? Now, this sounds a lot from a guy who has not even a percentage of money of a Pat McAfee. I would have to have in my contract, and I have the best lawyers I can get, Pickles, to say, I would have the best lawyers to say, if you hire me, the first time that something comes out where you're race baiting or you're pushing some kind of political agenda, I'm going to say something back. You will respect my contract. I do have the right to say something back. I'm not going to sit here and take this stuff because I'm just not built that way. And if you let me do it my way, I don't curse on my show. I don't curse. Pickle says ESPN is there. I must type lawyers, but I would take it. Because I would push back against that nonsense that they push, and I'd go head to head with any of them on the program. Because I think a lot of them they think like me, but they're weak on the inside, and like Jason said, they just don't have that kind of courage. Well, I started off from the bottom, so it doesn't matter for me, and not to sound cocky, folks, but, I'm not a punter in NFL. I wasn't a punter. I've had Jim Jeffcoat on this program. I've had Al Borges on this program. Okay. Not a great, not a great interview, but I had Skip Hall on this. I've got a current assistant head coach on this program. And but with your help, Pickles and Corey and Carlos coming there, we, not to sound cocky, I like Pat McAfee. I think this show can go farther than that because I want to be a positive for the most part. And I get ticked sometimes, but I want to be fair. I felt like I've been fair, but I think that the motivation that I want this show to come into, where you use the analogy to sports to help people, some self-help stuff, I think this show can go farther than McAfee's show. No offense to McAfee, but it's kind of a spinoff of it's kind of a spinoff of a Barstool type of thing. The drinking in there, the loud, the kissing the rear ends, and it just, that seems like a program that can be caught if I get the right type of push behind me to get it on the right platforms. Okay. So Pickle says, so guys like Amos Donna, he got fired and he got paid anyways, but so it's one of those things where I see this type of story, the McAfee story, and I think, man, the sky is the limit for Sports Scope. Meeting people like Dan Dave Harris and like I said, Jim threw all those guys and Mike Westhoff. I mean, this is from a guy that's a nobody. And like I said, so high tide raises all boats. I'm happy for McAfee. But I think it's gonna blow over. He probably knows that in the back of his mind. But it's good publicity for his program. High tide raises all boats. So 4 years, $120 million. Maybe they bought that contract out and they probably gave him, I don't know, 35, 40. It's a ridiculous amount of money that they're paying him, but I'm sure it's an airtight contract, But yeah, I would take it to build the brand up, and it would be in writing that I will fire back if something that is not with sports here, some of the crap that they push, I'm going to push back. They need some pushback. And, I would never do that. But you got guys like Kendrick Perkins, and they would have pushed that racial idolatry, just like Jason said. They want to push that crap down people's throat. They want to push their politics down people's throat. They want to push ideologies and all this crap down people's throat. And people just want to watch sports to get away, Jay-Z said in one of his songs, he said, man, I came to the club to get that off my mind. When a guy tried to follow him in a nightclub years ago, it's 24 of Beyonce. He was in a nightclub, man, and he's just 20-something years ago, and he's like, dude, I can't get your record deal right now, man. I came to the club. We come to sports to get that stuff off our minds. So anyways, tomorrow, Sports Scope will have Keith Engel on the program, and he'll be coming in about 30 minutes past. I'm going to ask him a little baseball. I know I've been away from baseball since opening day, April 1st. I'm going to ask him about, does he think this Tampa Bay Devil Ray team, are they sustainable? Is this run sustainable? I think it is. I mean, hey, this team's been in the World Series a few years ago, but I want to get back and talk a little baseball with him. Plus, I'm going to ask him about this this ceremony for Tom Brady. Does he think that Brady or Belichick will have a tell-all book? Does he think that's going to happen? And those are some things that I've thought about over the last few days. I mean, we've heard bits and pieces from Brady and Belichick. We've heard that Brady wanted Belichick wanted to get rid of Brady, and Brady wanted the quarterback that's with the Raiders now wanted him out of town. What's his name? Carlos. Jeez. Anyways, so all that kind of drama there. I'm gonna ask him about that, and of course a few more other things. If you guys like the show, share the show. Let's beat McAfee, folks. Let's Jimmy G. Thank you, Pickles. Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's beat them, because I don't think I know, Carlos. We can beat these guys. Hey, I'm a competitor. What can I say, man? I'm a competitor. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, here on Sports Scope. Thank you, Tempo Lee.